And we are back. And we just finished watching 2024's Love Lies Bleeding, rated R, with a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. This is by director Rose Glass and has writing credits to Rose Glass and Weronika Tofilska. This is, according to IMDb, reclusive gym manager Lou, played by Kristen Stewart, falls hard for Jackie, Katy O'Brian, an ambitious bodybuilder headed through town to Vegas in pursuit of her dream. But their love ignites violence, pulling them deep into the web of Lou's criminal family.
That's a good description.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I would say overall I liked it.
Better than St. Maud?
Yes. I don't remember much about St. Maud, but I remember disliking St. Maud. Mm-hmm. But this one I did like it. It just had some elements in it that I felt weren't necessary and kind of detracted from the overall product.
And you didn't care for the ending?
The ending was fine as far as like where all the characters are ended up. The problem with the ending for me was, I'm not going to spoil this because you need to see it. Judge for yourself. But basically things are represented on the screen that I don't think were helpful in as far as the story went. I feel it could have been told without doing whatever the hell they did there. That really kind of took me out of it. It felt stupid. It really felt ridiculous.
Okay.
Like, I mean, come on. You see it for yourself. Maybe you'll love it. I don't know. Given the rest of the film was sort of like so gritty and realistic, and everybody did such a great job in their performances, it just felt really out of place.
All right, fair enough. I didn't mind St. Maud. I liked it, but I do like this one way more. It is a wild ride from first frame to the very last frame. I agree. The performances were really great. The two leads in particular do a really great job. There is absolutely a sense of chemistry there, unlike in other films that we've watched this year or maybe recently. But there is a sense of chemistry there. This is possibly, I actually nominated this film for Wednesday Film Discussion Group, and this is possibly the horniest film that we've seen in a while. So there was that.
There's a lot of sex.
And it's not like softcore porn. You don't really see anything, but it's definitely implied.
There's some intimate moments that I probably could have lived without seeing.
Having said that, I also love that the filmmaker got down the whole aesthetic of the, I believe this is the 80s. The way people are dressed.
I think so,
The whole panorama, the way things looked. There was this very gritty feel to it. It just felt like middle of nowhere, middle America, just... Yeah,
I could totally understand people disappearing without a trace, especially in that part of the country. They're like in New Mexico and some town in the middle of like a desert.
Yeah.
And just the way everybody looks. I mean, especially God, Ed Harris. Ed Harris is just he's creepy to begin with.
Yeah.
As he's gotten older, he's just become more creepy looking. And here he is. He's got his bald head and his long hair, which always it's like Riff Raff from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. He's got hair like that.
Yes, he looks exactly like that.
But mean,
yes,
if Riff Raff was just gonna beat your ass and shoot you,
kill you, yeah. There's definitely this undertone of violence throughout.
Yeah, you could totally believe that he was the head of a crime group there in this small town.
And not just that, but also the Beth and JJ story, the story about domestic abuse, which is just, I think the first time I watched this film was very jarring, very unsettling. The event that causes Jackie to go to their house. Prior to that, just seeing Beth in that situation or that state was just wow.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, how she still...
Yeah, she is sort of like a poster child for that sort of brainwashed domestic violence victim.
Munchausen.
No,
not Munchausen. What is it?
It's like Stockholm syndrome, where
I always confuse those two.
yeah, it's like I don't know if it's accurately Stockholm syndrome, but I mean we've all seen it where no matter how much her face is mangled or bones are broken, and that's the thing. Like even before, even before like this is established, you know something's going on because her arm's in a sling.
The first time
you ever see her,
bruises on her face.
and like her face is like kind of ruddy. Mm-hmm. So you know that JJ's he's no good. They don't tell us, but you see it.
Right.
I like that. Like that's good storytelling, which is something that we mentioned in a previous review that wasn't there.
Right.
And you don't have to scream it. You don't have to be like, JJ, you got to stop beating my sister. That never happens. You just know it's happening.
Right.
You just know it's there. I mean, you could tell JJ is a piece of crap. You saw that hair.
Yeah.
Everybody
with that hair was a piece of shit.
I mean, everybody in this movie had pretty atrocious hair, except for maybe Jackie.
Maybe Jackie. Although her hair was definitely
it was like 80s, but I'm pretty sure she combed it at least a couple of times during the movie.
Maintained, yes, of all the people. Like,
but Kirsten Stewart's hair, Lou's hair,
in a while.
Lou's hair was gross.
Yeah,
JJ's hair was gross.
Her dad's hair,
Ed Harris' hair was just gross.
Yeah,
yeah. Good Lord. Whoever, I mean,
Beth's hair was egregious.
Either the actors
80s.
just were like, yeah, let's just not wash her hair, or they had a great hairstylist who knew how to make gross hair.
Yeah. What did you think of the love story? It is a love story between Lou and Jackie.
It is a love story, yeah. For me, I could buy it just because these are the type of people that we're being presented with. They're not really long-term thinkers or
overly educated.
It's just sort of like we live in this disgusting little town. Let's just try and squeeze as much life out of this place as we can.
Yes.
And there's no point in waiting. Okay, yeah, sure, you could live with me. That's fine, whatever.
Yeah, she was a little too like. I mean, she just met her, didn't really know her, and was just like, "Yeah, I'll put you up."
Yeah, you could see she was attracted to her from the beginning. Yeah. But you could see. It took place over the course of a week. I don't know if this is a relationship destined for the ages. No. I don't know if it's even going to survive at the end of that road trip. Mm-hmm. But for what we got, I could see. Yeah, they're together. They care about each other. I don't believe it's healthy. There's definitely some little cracks in that relationship armor there.
I was going to say, do you think that Jackie truly cared for Lou, or was she just there at the right time? Because it felt like, I don't want to say that Jackie was an opportunist, because she did have her dalliance with JJ.
Yeah.
And got a job, so kudos for her. But at the same time, it was like, it almost felt, at least in the beginning, it felt like maybe she's an opportunist, but maybe later she really did have feelings for Lou.
That's how it came off to me. That in the beginning, it was more of a sort of like a quid pro quo thing, especially on her part. Maybe not so much Lou. For Lou, I think it was like, this
lust at first sight.
Yeah, I'm attracted to this person. And clearly she wasn't too keen about going back to Daisy and her brown teeth.
Yeah, Daisy was a little much, right?
She was just, I mean, talk about like, we were talking about dirty hair. Her whole body was just filthy. Oh my God. Wow. Like in the beginning, we're treated to Kristen Stewart, Lou, like just elbow deep in a freaking toilet that looks like it's full of borscht, and Daisy's just like, hey, nothing unattractive about that. You can rub. God, just yeah, like you can picture Daisy would have just been like, yeah, you could touch me with that hand.
Stop yourself. So I'm glad you brought up Anna. What do you think? Do you think there's some parallels between Anna and Beth?
Anna and Beth.
Yeah. I mean, not Anna. I'm sorry. Her name in real life is Anna. Daisy and Beth. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Who's Beth?
Beth is Lou's sister.
Oh, okay. What do you mean? Are there parallels between?
But do you think that there is any parallels? While I was watching it, I was sort of thinking about how, I mean, obviously she's not abusive, but Lou really isn't into Daisy.
No.
Daisy's still kind of on this kick, like, oh, Lou kind of thing. But obviously Lou
she's
has moved
super
on.
smitten with Lou.
Yes, very smitten. Lou has obviously moved on, doesn't really want to be bothered, but Daisy's still there. And then on the other side, you have Beth in this marriage with children with this man who is an absolute piece of shit. Just an absolute piece of shit.
I don't really see
it's not the same, but you have these two women who are just so enamored of whatever this ideal maybe that they have of this partner, and they're willing to almost justify or excuse this bad behavior because anybody could see, and again, she wasn't beating her or anything, but it would have made more sense for Lou to put her foot down and just be like, okay, we're done here. But she doesn't. Not that she was leading Daisy on, but at the same time, she could have been a little bit more firm and just said, listen, I'm not into you. You need to keep it moving. Like, we can be friends, but there's nothing here.
I'm like I said earlier, I think that's not what these people are like. These people, they're young, but they know that they're at the dead end of life. Mm-hmm. So they're just going to try, like I said, squeeze as much life out of this gross town that we live in as possible. So, yeah, Lou wasn't into Daisy, but I don't think she was going to hurt her feelings. Mm-hmm. It was sort of like, yeah, Daisy's there. If I need Daisy, I could just
bring her up,
bring her around. We'll go to Winky's, have a couple of drinks, and
maybe mess around.
But yeah, there was I guess the relationship meant more to Daisy. Clearly meant more to Daisy than it did to Lou.
Sure.
I wouldn't say there's any correlation between those relationships. Beth's was
just
full on
domestic
violence. But I love him. That sort of thing. The kind of thing where you just shake your head and you're like, you need to get out of there or you're going to die. And then she says, but you don't understand. She even says it. She's like, you just don't know how to love. And it's like,
what?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense because you're giving your love to some guy who just seems to love beating your face in.
Yeah.
And he messed her up.
More than once,
but the one that puts her in the hospital. I mean, those were some heavy prosthetics on her face. We knew that she's not going to take many more beatings like that.
Yeah.
The one after that one probably going to kill her.
Yeah. Agreed.
And
yet she still made excuses for him.
Still makes it. Some people are like that.
The other thing I didn't understand was why her father allowed this. Like the first time I would have seen that, he would have been in that hole in the ground.
I think the issue with the father is he wouldn't want that level of heat because he has his criminal enterprise going on. So he doesn't need his daughter being like, you killed him. Because she's nuts. Beth is nuts.
Yeah.
She would lose her mind and be like, you killed my husband. He loved me. So he doesn't want that. I think he even says roughly as much. Although if I was the dad,
I'd find a way to make him
I would
disappear.
find a way to basically make that guy's life such a living hell that he leaves. And he makes it clear to Beth, yeah, I'm leaving. I don't need this. And then, okay, as he's leaving town, he somehow finds himself in that hole. Yeah, I think maybe there was one guy who was a long-term thinker, and that was Ed Harris's character. that was Lou Sr.
What's your take on Jackie, the Jackie character?
I mean, I liked her character. She was basically trying to survive. She lets JJ have sex with her so this way she can get a job. Mm-hmm. Clearly has like a dream, wants to become a professional bodybuilder. I mean, kudos to the actress. Maybe she does that in normal life, but she was jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I was really checking out her arms. Yeah.
She looked like she belonged on the stage with those other ladies. I mean, she clearly isn't all there, though, mentally. And I don't think the steroids were helping.
There's a scene where I guess she calls home and she's talking to like a little brother or sister.
A little brother, and the mother
mom
is like, you don't ever call here again. So
I wonder
something happened.
We talk about like ambiguity in films. Like here it sort of works because you as the viewer take that snippet and you can interpret it any way. Like maybe the mother had a second husband or a boyfriend who was eyeing her, right? And
don't know. But something broke that home to the point where she left.
Had to leave.
She had to leave.
Right. And she's basically just homeless. She's living on the street. That first night she's under the bridge, the overpass, just waiting to go to her job interview the next day in her little shorty shorts that she seems to never.
It was probably her only outfit.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really see a suitcase. I mean, I don't know I don't know how old these people are, but maybe she's.
I'm assuming like early to mid 20s, like not that old.
She's probably been like running for a while.
It's interesting because in the beginning of the film, when she meets Lou and then she winds up going to Lou's house or apartment or whatever, she says how her muscles are natural and Lou offers her something. She offers her steroids and she just quickly goes into that, which is kind of interesting. I mean, maybe she never had the opportunity. I mean, never presented itself. And now she said, it's like, oh, I can't afford this. And Lou's like, I guess trying to hook her. And she's like, oh, well, it's free. You don't have to pay anything because she wants Jackie to stay or be there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she was just trying to get in Jackie's good graces there.
Sure. Yes, that's what I mean.
The fact that she knows, oh, I can't afford them means she's definitely approached using them before. So the whole, oh, I'm all natural throws a little cloud over that. Yeah, so I didn't really see any like bizarreness as far as like her willingness to just use them. Also, I mean, the time period.
Right.
Back then,
probably
it was just like, it was, there wasn't like, oh, you're using steroids. Bodybuilders use steroids? What? Wrestlers use steroids? What?
That was very commonplace.
That was common. Eventually there would be scandals and whatnot, but back then it was just, oh, give me the hardest stuff you got.
Yeah,
this stuff.
And I'm
this
sure
stuff
none of that was regulated.
No, they were putting in stuff that was made for horses inside of them. It was just like, oh yeah, you could win the Kentucky Derby on this stuff. Yeah, go ahead, just jam it in your ass.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, little things about character. It shows that Jackie is not supposed to be this innocent, all good person. She's banged up. She's got questionable morals. She'll do what she needs to do. So yeah, that just tells you about her character. So when she has that phone call later on, it's not really surprising. It just sort of gives a little bit extra depth to the character.
I agree.
Also,
and
it also
a
makes
nice little thing where it's like show, don't tell.
That's exactly what I was getting at. It gives them more in common because Lou also has
broken home syndrome.
Also questionable morals, questionable ethics. We see flashbacks to certain events. Yeah, so you could see, all right, well, these are two sort of kindred spirits. Maybe that's why she gravitated. Maybe that's why she gravitates to Jackie, where there's actual love, I guess, and not to Daisy. Because Daisy is just sort of a sycophant. I'm not saying Daisy is moral or ethical in any way. Probably quite the opposite. In fact, she proves it. But it's just different.
Yeah,
there's this sort of like, I guess, like a level of danger there. Because that could be an attractive quality. Oh, they're dangerous. I like that.
Yeah. Well,
Daisy isn't dangerous. Daisy is sort of just, she's a tissue. You use her up and then you toss her aside.
Yeah, and I think that's also the key there, right? Daisy's chasing after Lou. Lou is not chasing after Daisy, but Lou does chase after Jackie. So it feels like in order for Lou to be invested in a relationship, she has to be the pursuer.
The way the characters interact, it feels more appropriate for that level of relationship. Whereas the Daisy Lou thing those puzzle pieces don't go together quite as nicely.
What did you think of? Well, I don't want to give away the ending, I guess, but
I think I've said all I could say about this.
All right. I'm going to chime in and say that, again, I really, really like this film a lot. I didn't have a problem with St. Maud, liked it, but I think I like this one a little bit more. I think the characters are really, really well developed. I think the story is at times chaotic and wild, but still interesting enough that you don't lose your attention. I think that from start to finish, you are going to go on one hell of a ride with this film. I don't feel like any of the characters are wasted. I feel like everyone has a moment to shine. And I think that it's not a big ensemble cast if you think about it. There's some bit players, but for the most part, it's Lou and Jackie's story with pieces of Beth and JJ and Daisy and
Lou Sr.
And did I say JJ already?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's basically, and then I guess Beth and JJ's kids, but yeah.
There's some other minor characters in there, but they're not really important.
They're not really important to the story. Like the
main
two muscle
ones,
heads and the woman complaining about the toilet being backed up. Like there's other characters, but for the core group here, I feel like everyone gets their moment. And I feel like nobody's wasted. And I think everything that's here is done in service to the story. So I didn't have any complaints about that. I really like the aesthetics of the film. It felt very much in that time frame. Mm-hmm. There's like this seediness kind of to it.
Yeah.
I think on the IMDb it's tagged as dark romance, yes. Drug crime, absolutely. Erotic thriller, possibly. Action, I don't know about action. Adventure, I guess if that's what you want to call it. Crime, yes. Mystery, yes. Romance. It's kind of interesting that that's kind of lumped in here, but to an extent, yes. Thriller. Yes.
Yeah, I would say thriller more than action adventure. I wouldn't put action adventure in there at all.
At all, I agree with you.
I think
it's more of a thriller.
Yeah.
And parts of it felt very almost film noirish to me.
Yeah, I could totally tell. Yeah, I could totally see that.
It's interesting how that works here because it's a noir without being a noir because there's elements of noir that are missing from this particular piece. However, there's this undercurrent of something just ain't right throughout this film with this family, with the story, with these characters, and yet it still works. It comes together really, really well. The cinematography I thought was done well. I think whoever was in charge of like the set design and scouting locations did a really great job of finding this like middle of nowhere podunk kind of off the beaten path sort of town that's slowly dying. And I think to your point, just everybody's just trying to squeeze that last bit of life out of it.
Like it felt like the only thing in town was the gym, the diner, and the gun range.
That's it. Yeah, it's there. Yeah, it felt like middle of nowhere where bodies could just go and disappear without anyone noticing.
Yeah.
And I think Ed Harris does a really great job of just towing that line. I mean, in recent years, he's done a magnificent job. I mean, he's always been a great actor, but in recent years, I feel like he's really embraced the darkness and being that bad guy character. And I think here he does it really, really well because at times he seems like a nice old man who maybe likes to smoke weed every once in a while. But when you really get down to the layers of him, he is not to be fucked with. He is really not to be fucked with.
Yeah.
And so he is willing to even take out his own kid.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That is a lot. So kudos to the entire crew, to the entire cast, and in particular to Rose Glass for her just amazing storytelling abilities here. This is not a film that's going to be for everyone, so let's go on record and say that as well. But if you can, I would recommend this. If I was going to give this a number between 1 and 10, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I really enjoyed this watch. I really enjoyed the story. It's different. It has some craziness to it, but again, if you can sit through this and get through it, I think you'll like coming out on the other side of this storytelling experience. What say you?
I would have given it a 7, but the ending there with those certain aspects, I'm gonna have to take it down a point because it's annoying when you watch something and then something just sort of like
takes you
it
out.
takes you out of it. It just feels so out of place. I don't know. Like throughout the film, there are little bits and pieces where it's sort of like you see, I guess, like fragments of what we see at the end, but it's never that
overt or
it's sort of like
obvious.
It's sort of like they were doing one thing, and then by the end, you took it to like a different level.
Such a different level. Yeah.
You took it to a different level. You went to a different place. It's almost like.
What did you say while we were watching it? What did you say?
When it happened, I'm like watching it, and I'm just like mouth agape. My eyes are wide open, and I'm just like, what the fuck did I just see? Maybe that'll entice you to go see it. If it does, good. Because for the most part, I would like for 90%. No, I wasn't. Absolutely not. For 90% of that, it's a good story, like you said. I like how you said that it feels like a modern noir. It does. It really does.
And you know what? Before you finish, on top of the modern noir, you know what else I got shades of? Very Lynchian.
Yes. In fact, there's one scene where they're driving on the dark highway and you see the stripes, and I'm like, oh, dark highway or lost highway, whatever it was. Anyway, yeah. So I would have given it a 7. Maybe even a 7.5 or an 8, but that bit just it takes it away from me.
Okay.
So I'll give it a 6.
A 6. Okay, but still,
I would still recommend you go see it. Like we mentioned, there are some very sexually explicit stuff.
Very
scenes.
Very. She does not shy away from it.
No, it doesn't shy away from it. There are also some gruesome bits.
Yes.
So yeah. This is not a film for the squeamish.
It's not a film for the squeamish. Yeah. I think there was one point where we giggled when, I guess after their fight and they're in the apartment and Lou goes in there and she wants to stretch her out.
Don't even talk about it. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's certain, yeah. I don't want to hear that. Okay.
I think in the month of Women's History, it's great to get the female perspective. I think Rose Glass is a really exceptional storyteller. It's not cookie cutter in the slightest. You will not be bored. And I think that if you're a film student, you should absolutely watch this. I think there is a lot of merit here as far as how to tell a story in a non-conventional way. I think if this is the type of storytelling you want to do, Rose Glass is definitely the type of filmmaker that you should be watching. I think the way she tells the story, the way she has the story framed or shot is very much an aesthetic to her. I love how she drenches this film in just total 80s. Everything about it was 80s.
Yeah.
The hair, the clothing, everything just felt gritty and dirty and just whatever. And you feel like you're in a seedy town at the end of the world, just trying to get by, trying to survive to the next day. And I think she does a really, really great job here. I'd be interested to know more about the filmmaker and know who her influences are, because I see a lot as I watch her films. I see a lot. And I love that she takes these crazy topics. I mean, her first film, Saint Maud, there's a lot of religious undertones to it. This one, you get this sort of unconventional love story between these two women. However, there is elements of noir and thriller and crime story and family drama to an extent, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of everything, but it's done really, really well. Really well. And I love that she doesn't rely, the filmmaker does not rely on exposition guy, which is sort of nice too. It's that kind of storytelling is also very nice, because it's like not many people are successful at it. I feel like there's a lot of laziness in filmmaking where it's like, we're just going to have exposition guy come in and just tell everybody what's happening. Here, it's very much show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And some of it is ambiguous, like the scene with Jackie calling home. But again, it works here because it's like it adds another layer to the Jackie character, to the story of Jackie. And you can interpret it in so many different ways. And I think that that's also a plus in this story, because these are two broken people that have found each other in this place and time and are forging this relationship. It's many things, but at its core, I feel like it's an unconventional love story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, this is streaming on Max from Rose Glass. 2024 is Love Lies Bleeding. Again, rated R. This is not for everyone. This is definitely not for kids.
Mm-hmm.
We watched it with one of our kids, and I think the other one watched it on my first watch. But there are some very strong themes in here. Clocks in at 1 hour and 44 minutes. And with that, we'll wrap it up. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
And we will see you all very, very soon. And with that, did I say we're posting this with Twilight? It's going to be Kristen Stewart weekend, and also shout out to
and this one she actually acts.
Yes. She's
Yeah,
come a long way from Twilight.
She's excellent in this.
Yeah.
Not so much Twilight. Much better chemistry between the romantic
What are you talking
leads.
about? Twilight, isn't that in the film archives?
Oh,
that
God.
film? Just kidding. And with that, we will bid you all a
good night.
good night.